Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Family Sedan channel. It's time to relist XRP. For all of the cryptocurrency exchanges out there that either delisted XRP or halted the trading of XRP, it's time to relist XRP. And look, it's like in a way like, well, definitely irritating, but almost offensive. The approach that Coinbase has now, frankly, them specifically, I gotta call this out. It's like they are somehow now developing a backbone. They're like growing a pair suddenly now that it's been over 2 years since the SEC sued Ripple, arguing effectively that XRP itself is a security. Now they're growing a pair because Coinbase is publicly stating, and I'll show you the specifics, but they're publicly stating now that if the SEC says that specific cryptocurrencies are securities illegal, if the SEC does that in the future, that it doesn't mean that they're going to delist any cryptocurrencies from their exchange. Well, then relist XRP. Oh my God, what in the ever living? Like, relist XRP. If you now have an actual backbone, if it somehow grew, you've developed that, then just relist XRP and be done with it. Because this is all getting a little bit silly. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a legal or financial background of any kind. I'm not offering legal or financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. Now, look, folks, if you've been following me for some time, you may recall right after Ripple got sued, and there was this mass delisting and halting of trading of XRP, in particular on exchanges throughout the United States. I kept saying, and I still think it was the right approach, especially back then, the right approach is like yell at the SEC for putting the cryptocurrency exchanges in that position. That was my stance. Because I get it. It's like these are businesses. They employ people. They employ people who have families. And if they want to continue to exist, then understanding the nature of what the SEC is and the terrible people involved in that association, just in a general sense, at least at the highest levels in terms of determining the direction of what they're going in the regulation by enforcement, it's like you got to make your own internal assessment and think, okay, even if we in theory have the cojones to go after or allow the SEC to sue us and fight back, even if you have that, is it realistic? As in, do we have the money that it would take to fight back? Because you know that Brad Garlinghouse stated that by the time this is all said and done, they're looking at $100 million. Not every exchange on the planet could live through something like that. And what if it's even more than that? So I get where they're coming from, but here's the thing now. You're talking about Coinbase, which was certainly in a better financial position back then, I think it's fair to say. Well, they had this limp-wristed approach to anything regulatory in crypto. And the SEC said, jump. The Coinbase said, how high, how quickly do you need us to delist, stop the trading of XRP effectively? They might as well have anyway. They didn't literally do that, but you get the point that I'm making. They couldn't get it off the exchange quick enough to protect themselves. And again, fine, protecting themselves. But here's the thing. They're now coming back and rethinking. Because, as it turns out, when you cede a bit of ground to the SEC, they're not going to stop seeking the seeding of new ground. They're going to continue to push back even harder than they were. It's not that you appease them by halting the trading of XRP and now you're fine. That's sure as hell not how this works. But even so, Coinbase now developing a backbone. But what's this actually going to do for them? And why don't they go back now, especially with developments? If you look at the development that we had recently in the remedy portion of the SEC v. Library case, which I'll touch on in just a minute or two here, if you look at that right there, it's very clear that Coinbase was in the right by listing XRP in the first place. And from a legal perspective, they shouldn't have removed XRP if you're purely looking at it from a legal perspective. If you're looking at it as, hey, here's a business that is making this calculation in terms of, okay, what's the total impact going to be? Okay, I get that. It's a little bit different of a consideration, but man. So there's this headline from the Crypto Basic titled, Coinbase risk disclosure change intensifies calls for exchange to relist XRP. So this is an article from the other day. Now check this out. The crypto exchange again hints at readiness to fight perceived SEC overreach, leaving many to wonder when relist XRP. Coinbase, the largest crypto exchange in the United States, has changed its risk disclosure, hinting at a growing resolve to resist perceived overreach from the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. This change appeared in the crypto exchange's recently released earnings report and was first reported by Axios. Notably, Coinbase now asserts in its risk disclosure that it may only delist crypto assets fingered by the SEC as securities once a judicial ruling supports the regulator's claim. Folks, why didn't they just have this damn policy in place when the SEC came after XRP? I think they've realized the error of their ways. And it just kind of makes you wonder at this point, because look, I understand why they updated the risk disclosure. It's because they're a publicly traded company. And if this is how they're going to behave, then anybody investing in Coinbase, per current regulations, should be aware, hey, this is how we're going to behave. So I understand why they did it. They're a publicly traded company. That's why we know that they have this internal change in their approach. I'm sure there are all sorts of conversations like this in all sorts of different exchanges throughout the United States. This one in particular is public because they're a publicly traded company, so now we get to dissect this further. But check this out. So here's how it was literally written. This is from Coinbase. We may determine not to remove a particular crypto asset from Coinbase spot market even if the SEC or another regulator alleges that the crypto asset is a security, end quote. And so I think that Coinbase, they probably reached the point where they realize, they can try and appease the SEC. They could keep going down that path, which they were doing in halting the trading of XRP back in I guess it was early 2021 when it officially halted in January. They could keep doing that, but it's not going to save them. And so they're finally recognizing, and they're in the financial position where they can handle this, despite the market pullback. They can make this work. That, it's either let the SEC just eat their lunch, or really come at them guns blazing, figuratively. So it looks like that's what they're doing. They understand now, and so it makes me wonder if they regret the stopping the trading of XRP. But so even though I think it's like, yes, at this point, just relist XRP. Are they going to? Are they thinking? I mean, I'm skeptical of that. At this point, they're in so deep, in terms of their decision making process. Can you imagine if they relist XRP and we're already this far through the regulatory process, and weeks away potentially from a ruling from Judge Torres, potentially anyway, and then what if it is bad? Well, then at this point, since Coinbase has already made the decision they made, then they're just extra in hot water after relisting. So I get why they shouldn't, why they won't, and that's my guess anyway. But what happened in the SEC v. Library case? Like, what is the right thing to do from a legal perspective? Not just in terms of risk. Just risk is one consideration, but in terms of what is right and what is wrong from a legal perspective, they should relist XRP. And you can look what happened at the remedies portion of the SEC v. Library case, and it's crystal clear. And we're technically waiting to see the written, the written finalization of the remedy portion from the judge in the SEC v. Library case. But we already know, thanks to Attorney Deaton and some others who have spoken about this, what the judge in that case said during the remedies portion. And mind you, this is after Library lost, but the judge is protecting secondary market sales and saying secondary market transactions have nothing to do with my ruling. And I'm paraphrasing, but that is the message that he has promised to convey here. So if you already know that's coming down the pike anyway, and that's the decision from the judge in that case at that district court level, it just further should instill confidence in the legal perspective, obviously. And so I would be shocked if we don't have something like this with the finality of the SEC v. Ripple case. I would absolutely be shocked if we didn't have that. And then going down a little bit further, they have this section called, wait, what about XRP? This is the question on the minds of several XRP holders after seeing reports of Coinbase's risk disclosure change. Recall that the firm ceased support for XRP after the SEC filed a complaint against Ripple and its executives, alleging XRP to be an unregistered security. The move disappointed many, considering the firm conducted an extensive analysis and consulted with the SEC before listing the asset. Consequently, several XRP community members wonder if this latest policy change will make the exchange consider listing XRP again. As a result, the hashtag RelistXRP is trending on Twitter. Yeah, and so fair enough to bring it up. I sure as hell believe that. Are they going to do it? I doubt it. Should they do it? From a legal perspective, I think it's pretty obvious that they're in the right here. Because, and again, as stated in this article, they did a full analysis, met with the SEC, said, here's our analysis, and the SEC never said, yeah, that's wrong, don't do that, XRP is a security, or anything of the sort. Nothing of the sort. Now, I will give Coinbase credit where it is due. I think it's only fair. Just as a friendly reminder, I'd be remiss if I didn't say this since I'm complaining about Coinbase a bit in this video. Remember this? This is one headline of many covering this topic, November 1st, 2022, just a few months ago. Coinbase is backing Ripple against the SEC. And so, folks, they did file an amicus brief. It was good. I covered it in full, or close to it anyway. I hired the most tasty morsels from that amicus brief, and it was good. I'm glad they did it. But where was the support sooner? They should have been screaming from the rooftop sooner, which is why what I'm saying is, I think what we're seeing is this shift in stance where they're recognizing we can't hide from this. We need to fight back. We need to be aggressive. And that's why they're like, hey, okay, well, the SEC sues us for various things, including our staking program or any of this. Okay. And they say they're just going to fight it now. And so it was good to see that Coinbase, again, giving credit where it's due, deservedly so, pushing back against the SEC, literally jumping into the SEC v. Ripple case. Finally, again, I wish they would have been a bit more noisy and a bit more vocal back in the day, because it's not like this problem was just going to go away. But they did, finally. So there's just a small part of this I wanted to cover as a reminder. Where was the portion? They had a quote here. It's pretty sure. I think it was down here. Oh, yeah. No, actually right here. Yeah, from here. In a Monday petition, again, this is from November. In a Monday petition with the District Court for the Southern District of New York, Coinbase asked Judge Annalisa N. Torres for permission to file an amicus brief in support of Ripple's legal position in the case. Amicus briefs are legal documents supplied to a court of law containing advice or information relating to a case from an organization or an individual who isn't a party to a case and acts as a friend of the court. Citing its unique perspective on the issues at stake in this matter and the absence of a regulatory framework governing digital assets, Coinbase said it believes that parties like Ripple must be permitted to pursue fair notice defenses in matters where they are facing surprise enforcement actions like this one. According to Coinbase, one of the fundamental due process protections guaranteed by the Constitution is that, quote, government agencies cannot condemn conduct as a violation of law without providing fair notice that the conduct is illegal, end quote. And then here's another quote this is from Coinbase's amicus brief. By suing sellers of XRP tokens after making public statements signaling that those transactions were lawful, the SEC has lost sight of this bedrock principle, end quote. So they're pretty spot on there, but it's just like when it comes to XRP holders, up to the point, it's like such a missed opportunity. With Coinbase being of the significance that they are specifically in the United States, can you imagine if they were out there changing the hearts and minds of even the staunchest, cottage cheese eating Bitcoin maxi trolls out there living under bridges, staying warmed by dumpster fires? That would have helped. You could have persuaded some. Maybe you could have gotten other notable organizations moving sooner. Maybe that would have done something to some degree, change the way in which all of this is unfolded. But unfortunately, that's not what happened. So again, they jumped in too late. Now they decided that they're going to be tough. But Ripple was tough from the beginning. Brad Garlinghouse, even on a personal level, Brad Garlinghouse and Crystal Larson had the opportunity to settle outside of, the action against Ripple specifically, and they refused whatever the terms were. They're like, nope, we're fighting this. You got to admire it. You got to admire that. So it is what it is, but I'm just saying in the end, one of the things that's more concerning here, and we'll see what happens, is I don't know how cryptocurrency exchanges are going to behave. Like, say we get into the remedy portions of whatever happens in the SEC v. Ripple case, and let's just say that Judge Annalisa Torres comes to the conclusion, yeah, obviously secondary market sales are not part of this, even if Ripple loses. What she says, secondary market sales not included, so obviously any transactions not having to do with Ripple here, that's not part of what is being ruled on, period. Is that going to be enough for Coinbase to resume the trading of XRP? The answer better be yes. Because I'll tell you this, I've given them slack personally, and I know some people disagree with me, and I respect your opinion, I get it. We're all going to feel a little bit different, a lot of us will anyway. I give them a lot of slack, especially early on, because I understand the SEC is the enemy. But the more I see the shift, the more irritating this is. I'm glad, and yes, I'm glad they're growing a pair, fine. But it's still irritating. And if they don't have the cojones necessary to relist XRP, if such a scenario unfolds, I will be screaming out against that, and I think everybody else should too at that point. demanding the relisting of XRP. So I don't know if it's going to unfold like that. I'm just saying if that like at that point I'm just like, okay, you are dead to me, damn it. Like you have crossed the line. If you've got all this tough language and you're not going to relist XRP after Torres makes it clear that secondary market transactions are not illegal, you're still not going to. At that point, I'm not going to have any sympathy for any exchange that doesn't relist XRP. I get it, the attack, the uncertainty, I get it. But at that point, no. Either relist the damn thing, which is what I think is most probable, or we gonna have worse. You know what I'm saying? Like that's basically the mindset where I'm coming from. It's time to relist XRP. If not literally the second, then in the coming weeks, or it may be that soon. If we say we get this ruling in the coming weeks, maybe that's all that we need. Even though we won't technically be at a, necessarily. I mean, if it's a slam dunk win for Ripple, yeah, okay, obviously. But say Ripple loses and they have to go to the remedies portion, maybe it takes a little bit longer. But we really potentially, inside of a matter of weeks, could have that news come down. And if there isn't prompt action to relist XRP just as quickly as all these exchanges removed it, I'm going to be scratching my head going, what in the ever-loving hell is wrong with you people? Because they got rid of XRP lightning fast. You're not going to get it added to the platform just as quick when all the technology is already in place. Flip the damn switch. This is not difficult. So I'm just preemptively telling you how I've been thinking about this because I haven't really talked about this ever on the channel, but I'm just saying if it gets to that point, that's pretty much my mindset. So you guys let me know what you think, but I'll wrap up here. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Family Sedan.